let me ask you all a question. Have you ever seen something, whether it's in a book, a manga, a video game, or a TV show, and thought to yourself, this hits different. This feels different. This feels special. Well, that's how I feel today after finishing The Dangers in My Heart. That this show feels special in a way. Now, you see, guys, when this season of anime started, I saw a lot of people say that, oh, this season's gonna be kind of like a layover season until we get to more hype things. That there weren't that many great series this season. There were a couple that people noticed right away, but the majority consensus was that this season wasn't that great. But now that I've gone through this season a lot, and gone through a lot of individual shows, I realize just how wrong that is. And the show that stands towards the top, in my opinion, is The Danger in My Heart. This show did something really great, in my opinion. They have one of the most genuine, realistic romances I've seen in an anime in a very, very long time. Now, to explain this, with rom-coms, for instances, there's usually some factor that has to push the characters together. Whether it be something as ridiculous as, oh, the characters are arranged to be married, or something as ridiculous as, oh, you know my dirty secret, now I can't leave you alone. There's always some weird circumstances that pushes the characters together and pushes our plot forward. But with this series, it's so genuine. Take the first couple episodes of The Danger in My Heart, for instance, as we meet one of our main characters, Kiyotaro Ichikawa. And for all intents and purposes, he is a loner. He keeps to himself, and he has these grand delusions of murder on his mind, actually. Quite a strange thing for a kid to have, but that's what he has. And then we have our second main character of the show, Anna Yamada, who, by all intents and purposes, is the complete opposite of Ichikawa. Completely outgoing, always makes her opinions known, and is very, very friendly with everyone. Now, you see, in a normal romance, there'd be something crazy that would push these two characters together and to make them interact with each other. But this show is different. I think one of my favorite things about this series is the subtlety of it, the realism. If you guys have been on my channel, and for any stretch of the time, you know I love little subtle things here and there, and this show excels at that. Because you see, in our first couple episodes, these characters don't even really interact with each other that much. The only thing really even connecting these two together is the fact that Ichikawa has delusions of murdering Yamada, actually. As weird as that sounds, because she's the queen of the school, essentially, the most popular, beautiful person in the school. And to him, that makes her a prime target. And it's here as he's watching her, trying to find the right time to take her out. He starts noticing how quirky she is, how goofy and ridiculous that she actually is when she's on her own. And every time he does, he can't help but get swept up in her energy and goes along with her weird little antics. And it's as I said, in these first couple episodes, they don't even really interact with each other that much. They really don't. But it's when they do that it just feels different. Now, you see, guys, with romance, whether it be in a movie, a TV show, or in real life, it's subtlety that leaves a lasting impression, that makes a big impact. It's the little things that you don't even think about that truly leave an impression on someone. And over the course of these first couple episodes, while they don't interact much, it's these little subtle things that they do for each other that really pique the other's interest. Let's take the first 2 episodes, for instance. We'll start at the end of episode 1, where we see Yamada is walking to school, I believe, and she's getting hit on by someone she clearly doesn't like, as Ishikawa is walking behind them. And he notices that she really doesn't want to talk to this guy, as he's being very pushy for her number. And it's here while he notices this, while I wouldn't call what he did subtle, he makes a big scene to get her out of that situation. And it's in that moment that she takes notice of him. Now let's talk about episode 2, where they're doing their school cultural festival, and the class is doing some graveyard theme project. And one girl, does something which honestly could be considered pretty offensive, and everyone gets really upset about that. And instead of throwing anyone under the bus, he casually takes the blame for it, and doesn't make a big deal out of it or anything. He just takes the blame for it, and she knows that he's lying about that. And it's in that moment she starts to realize maybe he's a nice guy under this gloomy exterior he puts out. Now let's move on to episode 3. And to give a little bit of context to this scene, you see our boy Ichikawa wants to be, I believe it was either an author or a mangaka, because he's drawing these characters for his story. And one of the characters just so happens to look like Yamada. Through a pure coincidence, of course. Coincidence. And through circumstances, she actually ends up getting the picture that he drew of that character that looks like her. She ends up having it. And it's here later in that same episode, she actually ends up getting hurt. Her nose gets busted by a basketball. So Ichikawa doesn't want to admit it, but he goes and checks on her to see if she's okay. And it's when he's here, no one else knows he's here, that he sees a side of her that she doesn't show anyone, where he starts to realize that, wait a minute, this girl has far more going on than I thought she did, and has far more worries than I could have imagined. And it's here in this moment he sees that she kept that picture and even put it in her wallet even. And it's in that moment he starts thinking, wait a minute, I think I like this girl. What is going on? He can't wrap his head around it. And it's here from episode 4 onward, with both of their interest in each other actually peaked. They start to actually truly interact with each other. And it's here through these little interactions with each other over the course of the rest of our season, we see the distance between them start shrinking more and more. They don't even really notice it at first, until we get to a point where Yamada starts dropping little hints here and there, little subtle hints, that she might actually like him too. And it's just some of the most wholesome, make you smile from ear to ear kind of shows ever. It is just really adorable to see these two play out with each other. And as this is going on, they start getting bolder and bolder with each other, which I love, especially Yamada, who I'd argue makes her feelings very, very known towards the end of our season. But it's also really great to see Ishikawa start to understand himself more and more as we go through the show. Because throughout the whole show, he's always talking about, oh, there's something wrong with me. There's something wrong with my head, because he has all these thoughts. And it's really great to see that through interacting with Yamada, being around her, him starting to realize that, wait a minute, maybe I am the way I am because I want to push people away before I end up getting hurt. So I don't let anyone get close to me so they can't hurt me. And that's why he's closed himself off. He starts to realize that. And our final scene of our season is honestly beautiful. There's not even that much said amongst each other. They just kind of embrace. And I'll tell you guys right now, the exact moment where I fell in love with this show was actually very early on. Because when our episode ends in episode 1, we go into our opening song. And I think this is one of the most perfect opening songs for a show ever. It sets the tone so unbelievably well for the series that when I first heard it, I immediately thought, oh, this hits different. This is special. And I fell in love with the series. I really love it. Like, I'm gonna go read the manga now. Like, probably when I'm done with this video. I loved this series that much. It's just so great. And something that makes me so happy about this series is that over the course of our season, the anime season in general, spring season, you guys know how on social media, if you go on like Annie Twitter, for instance, they have these like polls where they have these little polls that are like, all right, what's the best male character this week? The best female character, best couple, best show, so on and so forth. And I love the fact that this show starts off really low. I don't even know if it was on the list in the beginning. And as the weeks kept going on, you saw it go higher and higher and higher on the list. And I think it's so deserved. It's not even funny. And we saw that this series went from a series that, you know, some people were talking about, manga readers specifically, were talking about the show before it aired. And it went to a show that I would argue is really legitimately one of the best shows this season. And I just wanted to make this video to you guys, kind of gushing about it, honestly, because I really, really enjoyed it far more than I initially thought I would. If there was a show this season that I would highly recommend you go and watch, The Danger in My Heart would be top 3. Now, you may think I'm crazy saying that, but I enjoyed it that much. And I think you will too. Talking to you there, watching this video now, I think you will love it too. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on it down below if you have finished the season. Because it finished yesterday, and it was just fantastic. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on it, guys, down below in the comments. Oh yeah, and before I forget, actually, this show already got announced for a season 2, and I couldn't be happier about it. If you guys want reviews on season 2 going forward, you gotta let me know in the comments of this video, guys. I would be happy to do it, honestly. It would make me really happy, frankly. So let me know down below. But that'll be it, guys. Again, I just wanted to talk about this series and give it the flowers it deserves. So until next time, guys, I hope you guys have a great day, week, month, and year. And until then, deuces, have a blessed day, and I'll see you guys next time. Deuces.